Hey guys, what is up? It's Dusty here and welcome back to another crypto video. And today, in rapid pace, we're going to be going over 5 different crypto that I think will do really well throughout 2022. Keep in mind these coins are in no particular order, and I like a lot of more coins than I can show in a 5 coin list, but I'm pretty certain that these 5 coins will pop off throughout the year. So, as a friend, I would tell people, maybe look into picking up these coins. Then again, I am not a financial advisor, so I cannot make any guarantees, but these are my thoughts and I would think about them if I were you. Now, having said that, my first coin on the list has to be XRP. The main reason I have this coin on my list all the time, every single time, is because they're in a very important lawsuit right now. If you don't know what XRP is, it's basically a cross-border currency. In the way that I like to describe, it basically helps facilitate transfers from one fiat to another or one CBDC to another through the help of Ripple, the company, basically arranging most things for XRP. Now, that company got into a very big lawsuit over XRP, where the US SEC alleging is now, that they are a security and that Ripple has been selling securities for a long time. There's a couple of contradictions in all that though, and it really doesn't make too much sense. The majority of the XRP community and most crypto lawyers I've spoken to, they do believe that Ripple has a very high chance to win. I personally am pretty certain of it, but again, no guarantees as we're not advisors in any way, shape, or form. And once it does, the probability of this price going at least 10x within this year, because it's most likely going to happen this year, is very high, we estimate. So from that perspective, the risk to reward is just so amazing that we're going for it. And I'm still every single day pretty happy with my investment. I've gotten into it a couple of years ago, got into it really cheap. But still right now, I don't think it's actually too bad to keep adding coins. As even though we 4x throughout 2021, I do think this year will be 20x. Let's hope. Let's see. All right, my next coin on the list is Terra/Luna. I've actually called this coin out many times on the channel before, as I expected the coin to hit at least $60 billion market cap pretty soon. I didn't put any end date to it, but pretty soon, let's just put it like that. One of the main reasons is the growing ecosystem behind it. Terra/Luna, the easiest way you can see it is it's just a platformer like Ethereum. That's the easiest way to see it. Terra is a blockchain protocol that uses fiat-pegged stablecoins to power price-stable global payment systems. One of the coolest things that they've gotten for themselves is a completely decentralized stablecoin, UST. It's very popular nowadays, doing pretty good as well. And a lot of people are excited about that. Once more, you can just check out the TVL, and you can see that they actually overtook the Binance Smart Chain for total value locked. In that sense, doing really amazing in terms of every number. And so I'm not exactly sure what else to tell you except for this coin, this project is doing really well. And I think it's just going to keep continuing on to do on that pace. So is it going to be the most crazy multiplier of history? No, because 2021 was already really amazing. But I think piece by piece, it's just going to get more and more better, if that sounds right. Yeah, it's just going to really expand throughout 2022 even more, even though it already went from like $3 or so. Oh, at the start of 2020, it was even 80 cents, 60 cents even. But I think it's going to go and see hundreds of dollars worth of value throughout 2022. Algorand is my next coin on the list. As I've already described a couple of times before here, Algorand is a project with very high capabilities, very high expansion rates, meaning in 2022 they are really looking to expand quite severely in terms of every metric you can think of, very high TPS, very scalable, but more importantly, a very deliberate team, meaning they think about every decision they make really well. They execute them really properly, but more importantly, the guys in there are very trustworthy. Now, I'm not exactly sure who to name drop like that. A couple of people are also talking about their ISO connections or the fact they're open to it. But I primarily find the fact that all these people are like really high up there. Like, look at this. Sylvia Micali is a professor of computer science at Massachusetts Institute of Technology and the founder of Algorand. He's a recipient of the Turing Award in 2012 for his fundamental contributions to the theory of and practice of secure two-party computation, electronic cash, crypto, and blockchain protocols. This makes him one of the most foremost creators of crypto in the world, and so forth and so on. Proof of stake, once more, very sweet in every way, shape, or form. I think this one is going to crush it in 2022 as well, as I hope it's finally going to get away from this undervalued status. In terms of TVL, I already made a video about it. It's actually very low, and I actually think that's one of the main appeals for Algorand. The fact that this year they're going to start really building, start really expanding. And so this year could also be the year that they're going to really go hard in terms of price. My thoughts. Then a next coin on the list here is actually one you can't really buy straight away just quite yet. You actually cannot buy it on the market whatsoever, but it is called Kasta. So one of the things I have to say about this is that it's not actually one of my altcoin gems as normal, because it is a coin that has not even hit the market just quite yet. So we can't analyze the metrics, we can't analyze most parts that we usually do for an altcoin. However, I have done so many projects by now. I've bought into so many before they launch, and I know when one is hyped up enough. Now, the only distinction you have to make is whether or not the hype is sustainable, knowing that the project will keep getting this momentum as time moves on, and whether or not it is warranted or not. In the case of Kasta, what I see is instant crypto payments for free through an app. They've shown the app before. I know the founders, we talked about it. I've talked about it on the channel. I know these things are legit, in the way that they come. Meaning you only have to know them from the perspective of how massively adopted can it get. But the money is there, we know that. The marketing is already doing really well. They have hundreds of thousands of followers over on Twitter. They're very well known. They're mentioned everywhere. Every exchange wants to list it as well. There's no real negative side to getting into this crypto right now, as the multiplier will most likely be pretty significant as well if you ask me, right? I'm not sure, of course, right? And also I know that they will not make any guarantees, nor will I. But finding just, I guess, history here over on Bybit's Launchpad, most of these things listed did really well over the first couple of hours and first couple of days. And then generally speaking, I don't think any of them has actually made a loss just quite yet. So I'm also thinking Kasta is going to get a crazy multiplier. I want to speculate, but I don't really know an exact number. But I'm honestly saying, if we make a loss on this one, guys, it's going to be really surprising to me. Then again, no guarantees, but I think it's going to do really well once it launches. And I'll make a video on it, I think today or tomorrow, about how to exactly buy it. As I've already described it to everybody, but still some people keep asking me. Make sure you get yourself an account over on Bybit, a link down below, and everything will point itself out once you get to the launchpad. And then my last coin on the list, you guys have most likely already seen it from watching over at the top, but it's called the Sandbox. And the main reason I have this in my top list all the time as well, whenever I make one, is because it's a metaverse crypto. Now, Sandbox is what they basically are. Is you can actually go to their little sandbox.game. In them saying that we actually shown it during live streams for a couple of other protocols. You can just play the game or open this new world up and walk around in it. But you can also buy land in it. You can actually have a lot of wearables in NFT form or whatnot. They're working right now with a couple of really major partners, like Adidas, for example. They also bought a plot of land, for example, or they're working on some other way, shapes, or form to integrate something into their ecosystem. I just think Sandbox is actually going to overtake as the most popular metaverse crypto in the world. As they got themselves the partnerships, they're very nice branded name, if you ask me, as well. Sandbox is really on a good level. They've already had a wonderful 2021, and I think 2022 is going to be even bigger for metaverse. And so, of course, I had to pick at least one of those tokens. The only problem is, guys, I'm not exactly sure if this one or Mana is going to do the best, and I'm not really sure why to pick one over the other, except for the fact that the Sandbox has been having crazier partnerships throughout 2021, especially at the end, and that's also when it launched, quite near the end. But, of course, a counter example is the fact that Mana has still been at the top. And even though Sandbox has all these partnerships and has been doing so amazing, Mana still is at the top. And you would kind of think, well, since both of these were getting a lot of fame ever since Facebook changed their name, why would Mana then be on top at the start? Well, because it was already branded out further. But then why would Sandbox not take over if the partnerships were better? You might call it first mover advantage, but I guess that might explain as well why Bitcoin is number one as well, when the majority of other cryptos are actually, quote unquote, more efficient. Maybe Mana is going to stay number one and continue on that pace because it's just the first bigger one. Could be. I'm not too sure about that one. All right, guys, that was it for my little video right here. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed it. Hopefully you hold all these cryptos. If you don't, no worries, because it's just my silly little list. And one honorable mention I want to place here is Solana. Even though I'm actually more excited about Algorand rather than Solana, I must admit that Solana, and even I guess Cardano from a certain perspective, are pretty quote-unquote undervalued. In the sense they'll most likely do well throughout the first couple of weeks if Bitcoin starts to pick back up the pace. As BNB, Solana, I'm going to say mostly those two, and then Cardano almost always, but not always. They usually pick up first when Bitcoin recovers. So Solana usually comes right back up to $200, 225, and BNB usually comes really quickly back up to $600. So even though these are not like 10x or 3x type of performance for the next couple of days or so, they usually rebound to those levels rather quickly. And so if we're talking about almost guaranteed money, once more, guaranteed money doesn't exist. You guys get my deal. These ones are also two very nice picks, but more so short term for like the easy gains, or longer term, just like any other coin. They have a lot of potential, but these were just my top 5 coins right now. All right, so thank you guys all for watching. Make sure you subscribe if you enjoyed it.